Do you feel like garages are scamming you? Do you think that you're paying too much too often? The first thing we're going to talk about is your check engine light. The most common reason that your check engine light is on is actually to do with the fuel to air ratio in your engine. There's an oxygen sensor in your exhaust that checks how much oxygen is coming out of your engine. The oxygen sensor sends that information back to the car, and then the car can adjust the fuel to air ratio. If this sensor is faulty, the wrong information is being sent back, which means that the levels might be incorrect. The second most common reason that your fuel to air ratio might be incorrect is if you've not screwed your fuel cap back on properly. Oxygen can get in, causing the sensor to go off and your check engine light to come on. Always make sure to put your fuel cap back on properly. Also, if you see lots of other lights popping up, some cars automatically turn on other lights when your check engine light comes on. One thing you may hear is that you need to change your oil already. You need your oil changed around every 8 to 10,000 miles. Now, while you might not need the oil change yet, you should always check your oil level and top it up when needed. If you're not sure how to do this, I have another video, please check it out, and it will give you tips on how to look after your car and change the oil. One popular scam you may hear is you need a new car battery. You can actually check this at home yourself. When you're looking under your bonnet, you can actually see the connections, the wires that connect to your battery. If they look like they've corroded a little, well, you can fix this yourself too. You can use Coke. Just clean those wires up with a little bit of Coke. Make sure that they're not connected to the battery and your car is not running while you do this. If you still want to change your battery, maybe your car is just at that age of its life, then always make sure to get the newest battery that they have on offer. Batteries, when they're sitting on the shelf, deteriorate, and if you get an older battery, it may actually be worse than the one that you're replacing. Always pick the battery that has the newest manufacturing date to ensure that you are getting the best out of your money. One thing that I've seen quite a lot is garages telling people, you need to change your brake pads ASAP. They have so much wear. No, brake pads you can actually legally use until they're 99% worn. While this is not advisable, it's not technically illegal. I would recommend you change your brake pads at around 70 to 85% wear. If you're worried about that horrible squeaking sound, that's actually due to rust on the brake discs, not the brake pads. You can easily clean this at home with another household product, white vinegar. This works just as well for rust as it does for the scale on your kettle. One extra cost that I've actually only heard about recently is having to rotate your tyres so that the tread wears evenly. A lot of specialists have said this doesn't make a difference, and I believe them. Really, unless you spend all your time sliding around bends, you really aren't going to have that much difference in wear. If you do notice that the tread wears more on the front or rear tyres, you can actually get away with just replacing the front or the rear tyres and not the others. For example, if you have a rear-wheel drive car, you can just replace the rear tyres more regularly and leave the fronts, which could save you money rather than having to spend out on a whole set every time. For your standard cars, you probably won't notice a difference and really won't need to rotate your tyres. The next thing you'll always hear is you need to change your tyres right now. Actually, check the wear on your tyres. A lot of garages charge you for tyres before you actually need them done. Make sure to check the tread yourself. Don't just go along with what they're saying. And maybe also check for some uneven wear. If they're wearing more on the inside or outside of the tyre, this could indicate tracking. I have said this in one of my previous videos. One of the best affordable tyres are the Unireal Rain Sports. They're actually an affiliate of Continental, which, if you didn't know, is a really good brand of tyres. Have a look at the Unireal Rain Sports if you do need to change your tyres and you want to keep it on a budget. The last thing I want to speak to you about today is freebies. Free oil changes, free once over, free car inspections. I guarantee you they will find something wrong with your car, and when they do, you must pay for it now, otherwise your car is going to break down. They'll make it seem like the worst, biggest deal ever. They're scamming you for money. It's not a freebie, I promise you. You will end up spending so much money. They are just scams. One thing that I started doing going to garages that has made the world of difference is if I don't understand all the technical terminology that they're saying, I will tell them, I don't understand what you're saying. Please can you explain it to me? Please can you show me? I actually want to see it. I want to understand before I spend my money on this. Most places, if they're a good and reputable garage, will stand there and explain it to you. At the end of the day, it's their job. If you're a woman watching this, don't think that somehow you're lesser than the men that go in there. Half of their business is women. So those garages that are cutting out their female customers by being rude, obnoxious, scamming them, they're actually losing half of their income. Don't think that they haven't had those questions before. I promise they will explain it to you. And if they don't, take your business elsewhere. You don't need that. Just quickly, if there's some things today that I spoke about that you're not quite sure on, for example, oil changes, brakes, tyres, fuel, check out my previous video where I talk about all these things and more. If you like my content today, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. In next week's video, A Girl's Guide will be reviewing a Tesla Model 3. I am so excited and I can't wait for you to see it. I will catch you then.